Good morning. So I went and did something stupid. I replaced the front sight on my Glock 19. And the reason that's stupid is because I realized how easy that was to do. And now I feel like I'm going to be urged to replace sights on guns constantly and try out 40 different stinking sights just for the hell of it. Because, hey, we're guys and we do stupid shit like that. And I kid you not, it took me 30 seconds to replace this thing. But what it is, I got a little fiber optic sight there. This company is Hi-Viz. It's H-I-V-I-Z. Got it from Amazon. Let's see if I can pull that up. See what how much that cost me. I think it was like 25 bucks. Orders. There we go. The rear sight's 33 bucks too, if you want to get one of them. But the front sight, it's the only one I replaced. It was $21.15, and the front sight tool was $6.99. So the reason I replaced that is because I had the original sights on there, and as you can see, the back sights are still the same. But I had the original sights on there, and the front sight, the plastic on it coming in and out of my holsters, was starting to fray, and I mean, you could look down the sights and you could tell there's little pieces of plastic jutting off to the sides and whatnot. It was annoying as heck. And when I took out, my plan was just to take out a little steel file and just file the edge just a hair off, just to get the little frays off. So when I went to do that, I realized how damaged that front sight was, and realized that wasn't going to work. I was just going to have to buy a front sight. And some of you may not have that problem. Some of you may say, hey, I've never had a problem with these plastic sights. Are you keeping it in a holster constantly or keeping it in your safe constantly? Because this gun comes in and out of my holster multiple times a day. Because it's my duty gun, and for the most part, it is a primary off-duty carry gun for me. So it swaps holsters, and that plastic sight up front gets banged up. I haven't had the problem with the rear sight that I did with the front sight, to which I told that to one of my range instructors in town here for the sheriff's department, and he said the second you start training to rack the slide with the rear sight, you're going to have that exact same problem. If you ever decide, let's do some one-handed drills on reloading, and you start using that to rack the slide, you're going to have problems with that, and you're going to need to replace it. So, maybe it's working fine now, so it's not exactly an emergency. I don't know. Maybe I'll con someone into getting me a rear sight for my birthday and a rear sight tool. But again, I feel like that's going to be one of them things. The second I get that stuff, we're going to have 40 sights laying around just because I had to try everything. Now, why did I go with fiber optic instead of tritium? Well, that's interesting. I have a Glock 23, and it was a police trade-in gun. And there's an interesting story behind that. I went looking for a new Glock 23. The store I went to did not have any in stock. And I said, well, I can get a 32 and put a 40 caliber barrel in it. Not a big deal. And one of my buddies hollered at me, well, wait a second, what are these over here? And I go over and look at it, and there's two Glock 23s sitting right there. And the guy says, oh, those are police trade-in guns, you don't want those. I'm like, it's a Glock. I'm going to replace all the springs and anything in them anyway. How much are they? Pulls them out, takes a look at them. $400. Which I can get a new Glock for that price too. I had department letters and all that stuff. So I got police discount, essentially. But I didn't care. They're not indestructible, but I mean, replacing all the springs might cost you 30 bucks. Not that big of a deal. So I got it, and I got it home, and I had realized there's tritium sights already on this gun. Awesome. Fast forward a couple years later, read an article. Someone had taken, one of these gun magazine writers had taken a night class, and realized that the tritium was entirely pointless in his handgun. Because, for a simple reason, when it is so dark that the tritium, you can actually see it glowing, it's too dark for you to identify your target. When the second you take a flashlight and hit that button, turn the flashlight on, it's too bright to see your tritium glowing. So what's the point? Now, borrowed someone's gun that had a fiber optic sight on it, and similar issue, but it was solved. But there's a little caveat on that solved it. Again, it's so dark you can't identify your target, but the second there's a little light, they're glowing. They are. You take that flashlight and pop that flashlight on, and now your sights are, they still work. They're boom, they're super bright because they're absorbing all of that light. So whereas tritium works only when it's super dark and you can't identify the target, fiber optic works constantly unless it's pitch black. And then again, why are you shooting at something that you can't identify? You know, it's one thing in the military, you know all the good guys are behind you, and there's someone, you can't really tell who it is, but they're walking with an AK-47, and you know they shouldn't be there walking with an AK-47. They're probably your target. In your house, can you really do that? I mean, you're really going to take the risk of shooting your wife or your husband? Don't answer that, because I know some of you ladies are evil. But your kid, you know, are you really going to take that risk? No, you're going to have a flashlight. Well, what's the point of the tritium at that point? You get cheaper sights for fiber optics. And there is the issue of the fiber optics can break. But again, the way this is set up, if that breaks, I can still use this front sight. If that little vial in there breaks, yeah, I got to replace it, but it breaks in the middle of a gunfight. I can still use that front sight. I could still use the rear sights if it was there. If I had one of those, it could still be used. It's just not going to glow. So it's not all that much of an issue. And that little fiber optic vial in there, they're relatively cheap to replace. And at least with this company, it comes with a non-fiber optic white insert, so it kind of looks like the little Glock white dot, and it comes with a red fiber optic. It is kind of a reddish orange that can go in there too. And I'm assuming the same style, same company with the rear sight would come with the parts to swap those out too. So if you wanted two different colors, the same color, whatever it may be, there you go. But that's my little gun update, and that's my my take on fiber optics versus tritium. That's what I'm thinking, tritium. All right, have a good day.